Good evening, good morning, Dr. Scott. This is Shafi Love Goodwin, aka Love, better known as simply Love. Prior to giving the recorder to my interviewee, I would like to give my answer, and my opinion and and ideas in regards to affirmative action. So first and foremost, when it comes to affirmative action, and all policies that fall within, and under it to combat and remedy inequality, injustices, and discrimination. That if things were done correctly and accurately from the beginning, from the get go, then there would not have been any need for affirmative action. And there is no way that past inequalities and injustices will be remedied unless the hearts, and souls of those, implementing and advocating for such policies are evaluated and reevaluated, in hopes that the inherent purity and truthfulness, is brought forward and emerges, allowing them to do nothing other but equal and justice acts, behaviors, and attitudes towards any and all human beings, despite who they are or who they are not. And so, to remedy, the sort of the stipulations, the having fallen under affirmative action, folks would have to understand, the importance of, and the distinction and differences between right and wrong, and know and understand the importance of treating all equally and in just manners, no matter what. You can pass all of the laws, rules, regulations, bills, that you want to try to eradicate injustices and inequalities. I know I'm saying that a lot, but that is what is at the core, or not, what is at the core of affirmative action. The only way, those injustices and inequalities will be remedied, are for those to look beyond themselves, look, for something bigger than themselves. Until they get to the point where, they'll have no choice but to do what's right, or strive to do what's right. And when they, do mess up and screw up, they can admit to it, and try to remedy it, and what have you. So that is my response, again, prior to passing it on to my interviewee. And the questions that I have for my interviewee are, one, what are his, ideas and, and opinions in regards to affirmative action, how, such laws falling under benefited or did not benefit minorities, but also ways in which affirmative action affected non-minorities. Okay, so thank you very much, and I will pass it on to my interviewee, Solomon Burnett.
Excuse me. Hi, and thank you for the opportunity to engage this venue, Shafi, and I hope that what I say can be of benefit to you and yours, sir. I guess, I'm going to limit my commentary to the first question, to first the first question. I'm going to limit the commentary to educational affirmative action, and the understanding that comes from that can be used to understand other systems regarding how and why affirmative action might be necessary, and the necessary systemic responses, the necessary institutional responses that may be needed to dislodge embedded inequities. I say this to say that regarding education, American descendants of slaves are the only people who have had to deal with a forced illiteracy, illegally enforced illiteracy. Like if you think about American history regarding whites and slaves, whites were allowed to do everything. They were allowed to beat us, rape us, kill us, maim us, all that. Burn our houses down, displace us, break up our families, ship us across seas, any of that, all of that. They could do anything to us blacks, but teach us to read. The penalty for that was death. So we understand that, given the legal institutional nature of African American anti-education sentiments at the foundation of American society, that it may take intergenerational, institutional, conscious efforts of change to correct these historical inequities. And that's just talking about education, but you can find systems of these inequities being put in play in any number of situations. Bank loans, redlining. What happens if people see you as, selling land to people that don't want living in a certain place? They might come see you where you at, and how, whites might intimidate other whites in order to enforce racialized, discriminatory practices that could only be corrected via institutional, legally mandated change in terms of diversity. Regarding the second question as to how it affects non-minorities, again, non-minorities have benefited from segregated society in that they've always received the lion's share of resources in said situation, and historically has created an imbalance of inequity. And so, affirmative action, affirmative action, improperly applied, it actually does no harm to whites. They've had 500 years of free labor from African Americans, American descendants of slaves, and even now with regards to capital generation, what we generate $11 billion every year for the American economy. And so, America loses nothing, whites lose nothing from affirmative action. That's a misnomer given the fact that they've gained so much from exploitative labor. And so that's, you know, also, I think we should be conscious of what I call model minority displacement of American descendants of slaves for affirmative action receipt. And so what I mean is sometimes people will say you'll deal with Caribbean immigrants or African immigrants who will be African American on paper for college loans, but, may be a different nationality or ethnic group and may be receiving benefits that were earmarked to correct the particular wrongs done to American descendants of slaves, not necessarily immigrant populations. And this displacement can be manipulated by whites and can be manipulated by immigrants to subvert African American enfranchisement, which is what affirmative action is for. So we should be conscious that affirmative action was instituted for American descendants of slaves. And when we look around and we see, everybody black until they back home and they want to marry a black person, a real black person. Pardon. And so that's just to say we need to be conscious of the possibility of model minority displacement of American descendants of slaves in affirmative action situations as a way of manipulating funds, population management, and even subversion of African American community interest. And lastly, I'll say, to people who may be receiving affirmative action or may not be receiving affirmative action, may want it or may not want it, whatever, bro, sis, do your best. Everybody, do your best. It ain't a meritocracy. It's a nepotocracy. Do your best, regardless. Whether you're a recipient of the nepotism or not, do your best. Do your best, do your best, do your best. There is no better affirmative action than your best effort and prayer and fasting. Meditation, solitude, never mind. But seriously, do your best. Always do your best. And if affirmative action is a way you bless for doing your best, then so be it. And bro, do your best. Whatever. If they got something that was meant for you, it ain't yours, but you gonna get it regardless because you gonna keep doing your best. So do your best, bro. All that. None of that. Once again, Solomon Burnett, thank you so much. Shafi Love Goodwin, who, bro, such a special brother. Yeah, thanks so much. Peace.
All right, again, thank you very much, Dr. Scott. God bless, and I will see you in the morning for class. Bye.